The courtroom buzzed with murmurs as spectators took their seats. Cameras flashed as reporters set up, ready to capture the most anticipated clash of the day. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Jasmine Crockett, a sharp, quick-witted attorney known for her ability to tear down her opposition, was up against a surprising rival, Karoline Leavitt, a rising political star, young, confident, and full of knowledge. Today, it wasn't just about a legal case, it was about a battle of ideologies. The tension between the two had been building up for weeks. What started as a simple court case quickly turned into a personal war, and the media was watching it unfold in real time. The judge, an experienced and no-nonsense figure, had a look of quiet amusement as he called the case to order. "We'll begin now. Ms. Crockett, you have the floor." Jasmine stood up with a smirk, a glint in her eye. She wasn't just here to win the case. She was here to make a statement. The gallery quieted down as all eyes focused on her. "Jasmine Crockett, Your Honor, I don't need to waste too much of your time. We all know that Karoline Leavitt, well, she doesn't exactly have a grasp on history. How could she? This is someone who thinks a history lesson is nothing more than a few sound bites on a campaign trail. The reality of American history. She wouldn't know it if it hit her in the face." Jasmine's words cut through the courtroom, the edge of sarcasm thick in her tone. She had every intention of belittling Karoline. She was playing to the crowd, knowing the impact of a well-timed insult. The room reacted. Some shifted uncomfortably. Others nodded in agreement. But Karoline sat there, unmoving, unaffected by the verbal assault. Karoline's response. As Jasmine finished her tirade, the audience awaited Karoline's reaction. The young politician, still sitting calmly, looked like she was gathering her thoughts. She had heard these attacks before. They didn't faze her. But today, in front of this crowd, Karoline knew she had to show her strength. It was more than just a battle of words. It was a fight for respect. She stood up slowly, her voice steady as she addressed the judge, then turned to Jasmine with a piercing gaze. "Karoline Leavitt. Jasmine, I know you think you've got it all figured out, but you're wrong. History isn't something you can dismiss with a few cheap jabs. It's something we live every day. And if you think I don't understand the complexities of American history, I'm about to show you exactly how wrong you are." The crowd could feel the tension building. Karoline wasn't playing the victim. She was taking the fight to Jasmine's doorstep. "Karoline Leavitt, let's talk about the civil rights movement. You mentioned it like it's some footnote in a textbook. Well, Jasmine, the civil rights movement was America's defining moment. It's about far more than legislation. It's about the blood, sweat, and tears of the people who fought for equality. It's about their pain, their sacrifices. And if you think a few words from a campaign speech can overshadow that, then you're not as smart as you think." Jasmine's smirk faded slightly. This wasn't going the way she expected. Karoline wasn't just defending herself, she was schooling her. Karoline's voice grew louder, more passionate as she continued. The knowledge battle intensifies. Jasmine, realizing the tables were turning, decided to double down. She wasn't going to let Karoline have the last word. This was her moment, and she wasn't going to back down without a fight. "Jasmine Crockett. Oh, you want to talk about civil rights? I'll bite. You think you've got a better handle on American history than I do? You think your little history lessons are going to impress anyone here? Let's see how well you can handle real history, the kind that shapes us." She pointed at Karoline, her words becoming more pointed. "Jasmine Crockett. Okay, tell me, Karoline, what's the significance of the Emancipation Proclamation? Let's see if you can actually explain it, or if you'll fumble like most people do when faced with real history." Karoline didn't flinch. Instead, she locked eyes with Jasmine, a quiet confidence radiating from her. She wasn't rattled. She knew her history, and she was ready to respond. "Karoline Leavitt. Jasmine, I'm not here to play games. The Emancipation Proclamation wasn't just a law. It was a declaration of freedom. It wasn't perfect, but it was a step towards equality. It didn't just change the lives of enslaved people. It changed the trajectory of America's soul. It was about justice, about dignity, about recognizing the humanity of millions of African Americans who had been stripped of their rights. For centuries, the room was dead silent. No one had expected this kind of depth from Karoline, and it was clear that Jasmine had underestimated her. The back and forth continued for what felt like an eternity, each woman trying to outdo the other, each making compelling arguments that challenged the very foundation of the other's beliefs. The courtroom was no longer just a place for legal discourse. It had become a battlefield of ideologies, with both women fighting for dominance. Jasmine Crockett. Let me ask you this, Karoline. If you really know so much about history, then how can you stand by those who continue to deny the systemic issues this country faces? How can you back policies that favor the rich and leave the poor to fend for themselves? How can you ignore the history of exploitation in this country? For the first time, Karoline hesitated, not because she didn't know the answer, but because the question hit too close to home. She had spent so much time defending her beliefs, but now, for a brief moment, she was forced to confront a deeper truth. Karoline's reflection and reaffirmation. Karoline Leavitt. Jasmine, the history of this country is messy. No one said it was perfect, but that's exactly why we need to confront it, why we need to continue the fight for justice. The poor, the disenfranchised, the marginalized, they deserve better. We all deserve better. But that doesn't mean we give up on the system altogether. It means we fight to make it better. Karoline looked out at the gallery, her eyes scanning the room, her voice full of conviction. Karoline Leavitt. History teaches us that change doesn't happen overnight, but it also teaches us that we have the power to shape the future. And that's exactly what I'm fighting for. Jasmine stood in silence for a moment, her bravado faltering. She had spent so much time attacking Karoline, but she hadn't expected this level of insight. Jasmine knew she had lost this round, not because she wasn't smarter, but because Karoline had demonstrated a depth of understanding that couldn't be easily dismissed. The judge, sensing the change in the atmosphere, raised his gavel. "Judge, enough. This court will adjourn for the day. Ms. Crockett, Mississippi Leavitt, your closing remarks will be heard in due course." As the courtroom began to clear, there was an unspoken understanding between the two women. This wasn't just a legal fight. It was a fight for respect, for truth, for the right to be heard. And in that moment, both of them knew they had learned something invaluable. That history wasn't just about facts and dates. It was about understanding the struggles, the sacrifices, and the hope that carried America forward.